Alright, hello there guys. This is the demonstration and instruction to how to make your PSP last a lot longer than their traditional milliamp batteries that Sony sold and the Chinese knockoff batteries that are sold all over the place, whether if it's eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, who knows. So the sole purpose of this demonstration, again, to each their own, no responsibility here. This method will allow you to have longer game time play from the traditional Sony batteries and compared to the knockoffs where they say it's 1200 or 1800 milliamp or 2200 milliamp, which they are not, completely not, because they get wasted real fast. And considering the fact that the PSP has now been 10 years old, but other people love using this device, considering the fact that you can use emulators or ISO files, as well as many fun interactions, whether if it's retro related or whatever gameplay or game options that were available on the PSP that a lot of people enjoy. So the sole purpose of this tutorial, this mod, is that we're gonna take this battery right here. As you can see, I have a knock-on brand because Sony has phased out nearly all of their batteries, no longer make them, so a lot of these knockoff brand batteries are being made and they don't last as long as possible. So what I'm going to do is give you guys a tutorial how to mod the PSP so you can have a longer time play where you could have loads of fun hours of playing your PSP games or retro games out there in the market. So the sole purpose of this demonstration, you're going to need a couple of tools. First option that I recommend is a Lipo battery. That's 3.7V, 3000 milliamps. The dimensions of this battery is width is 105 millimeters, length is 50 millimeters, thickness is 6 millimeters. The reason why I've decided on this and tried out many different types of batteries, didn't work too well with the PSP. Now keep in mind, I forgot to tell you guys that I'm using a PSP 2000. I've also tried this mod for PSP 3000 models as well, 3001, 2001 models. And so basically I'll post the link on the subscription. The link will be there actually. I got this from eBay. It was around $12.90. A couple of things you're going to need is angled pliers or tapered tip shear, angled shear, to cut out specific areas inside the PSP so you can fit that battery in there. And pliers, certain specific areas where you're gonna pull out certain parts because we're gonna need to go into focus areas like removing parts of the UMD right there, which holds this metal portion of the UMD disc tray, and the triggering portion where it starts the UMD playback. So we're gonna remove that as well. And the reason why we're gonna remove the UMD is that we're gonna position it inside. We're gonna position the Lipo battery in there, and we're also gonna use the circuit board from the knockoff battery so it could control the voltage and charging method into the Lipo battery with no malfunction or anything else. So again, do this at your own risk. So far I've had any problems whatsoever. I've done it to 3 PSPs so far, one 2000, two 3000 models, and I've had no conflict, no problems, and I had a long amount of hours of playtime. So anyway, let's go into the focus of how to do this setup. So basically, another thing I forgot to explain is that you're going to need a box cutter. The box cutter is going to be the sole purpose of cutting out the battery and requiring the circuit board inside, the lithium battery inside, the Chinese knockoff battery. So let's start by opening the UMD tray. We're going to remove the metal piece. As you can see, it's tough to move this, so we're going to use the pliers to remove the plastic holding in there. The rubber holdings that hold the UMD tray. Alright, we remove those, and we're going to move that piece and that. Okay, so now we can freely move this portion of the metal piece. Alright. Okay. There we go, got that portion out. We're going to move that away from here. And now, the plastic tray of the UMD, we're gonna slightly bend this as like a U shape because we're gonna get it out from the hinges right here. A slight pressure making it U-turn, so take your time with this, guys. So with this, you could slightly move it out. There we go. We got that portion out. And then we're gonna get the other portion out, and there we go. So basically I put a slight pressure in the middle, making it like a U shape, or, you know, slight bendability. Alright, so the next step, where this is important, guys, there's a spring that, you know, adjusts this UMD. The spring is somewhere right there. I don't know if you guys could see it, but it's holding the UMD tray. Let's see if we could do it like this. It's right there, in there. So this is where our pliers are going to come handy. See that area here? Let's go to this point now. Right over here, this area, we're gonna cut off. So I'm gonna go into more in-depth detail here, because that spring is lodged in there that opens the UMD tray. We're gonna slightly pull it. There we go. Once you pull it, yeah, the spring will be inside there. Don't worry, it won't cause any problems. And or you could break this area with the angled shear and cut around right at this area right there. Let me see if I got a better angle. The reason why is that if you're having a tough time, you can cut it right there, because the important parts are these holes right there, which is going to be needed to position the UMD cover tray. Alright, these are going to be needed, so you're going to be fine with that. So another thing is to keep in mind that if you do have the 3000, there's a couple of plastic area holders right around the indentation of the circle of the UMD. You're going to cut, by using the angled shear, easily those areas. So the purpose of cutting those areas is to avoid the pressure of the battery, so it could stay flush. Alright, so another thing you're going to cut is around these areas, so the battery could fit perfectly, and I'll go into that demonstration soon. The reason why the 2000 is like that is because the 2000 has this plastic thing over here to position and hold the UMD. So we're going to remove this. This is not going to be needed. Now the reason why I'm going to remove the UMD is a couple of reasons why. There's really no use for it. And considering that the PSP emulation scene and custom firmware adjustments, everybody could load their games and everything else onto your memory stick. So there's really no need of the UMDs anymore, and considering the fact that they consumed a lot more of the battery life. So right now, so this is the UMD input tray right here. So what we're gonna do is unscrew this area and remove the UMD disc. So let me get my screwdrivers. I'm gonna remove this easily. I'm gonna fast forward this area. Now we're going to remove the UMD tray. Let's see. Alright. Okay. There we go. Right now, the UMD has a couple of things here connected. Two ribbon wires right here. We're going to pull these out. They're not going to be needed. Pull the ribbon cables out. There we go. That was plain and simple. No need for these. Maybe you could save it later if you're going to have any use of the UMD. If you have collections of UMD discs that you want to use, maybe you could hold on to it. But otherwise, there are options of extracting your UMD games that you have purchased and save them as a digital ISO into your computer and load them onto your memory stick. So we're going to put that onto the side, and another thing we're going to focus is remove this thing, which is which reads the UMD discs when they're positioned. We're going to remove that because when we position the battery, this is going to be no use to us. There we go. Remove that easily. Shut that out. Alright. Now let's remove the rubber holders that are left over from the screws from the UMD. Check if everything is clear. And remember, I was telling you about the screw that the spring that was holding the UMD door. Well, that's that right there. And honestly, this won't be any bother at all if it's stuck there, or if it could easily come out. I noticed that on the 3000, it was a hassle to take this out because it was really lodged in there. In the 2000, it could easily come out because there is a much spacious hole right there for the spring to pull it out easily. But on the 3000, it was pretty difficult. It won't be any issue, I mean, if it gets stuck in there, because it's not going to rattle and roll inside of the PSP, so it won't do any damage whatsoever. As I said before, I've done this mod a couple of times on both 2000 and 3000 models, and I've had no problems so far. Alright, so the next step is the cutting. So we're gonna cut out the specific areas of the plastic areas where we're gonna position the Lipo battery. These areas right here. And the reason why the angle shear is perfect for this is that it's easy to cut accurately. And I'm gonna cut these areas. As you can see, do it slowly, patiently. Cut the areas. Alright. There we go. Alright, so we're gonna fix this up a little bit. Alright, we clean one side. If you have a sander or like a box cutter and you want to shave it off, you can shave it off, but it's perfectly clean here. Pretty cleaned up. Perfectly fine for that area. So now we're gonna do some measuring here. See how it fits. As you can see, battery location where the Sony battery is right here. Fits perfectly fine, and it lays flat, so the UMD door could close much better and easily. And that's another reason why we removed the UMD, because as you can see from the height, it's a perfect size for the Lipo battery to fit in there. The next step now is for the UMD door. Let's put the PSP down here. So we're going to cut specific areas for the PSP. Alright, and we're going to understand and evaluate where the battery was. Alright, makes perfect sense. Okay, so a couple of things to keep in mind. This is the door holder. Yeah, that's the clip right there that holds the UMD door when you close it. So we're gonna cut around right around here, okay, which should be perfect positioning for the battery. There we go. Get the cut right over there, okay. And then the other place we're gonna cut is right over here. Go around it so we can get a better angled cut, like so. There we go. Let's see if it's, there we go, like so. And then we decide to cut around here, around towards the end of the UMD disc area. Okay, there we go. There we go. Do it slowly. Take your time with it. Okay. And that's it. Alright. We'll clean it off slightly. Do it smooth. Okay. Alright. Okay, again, we can shave those areas off later. And now we're going to do the same thing towards the other area. Okay, we're going to put right around here, same area as the other side that we did. Okay, and then the other portion, which aligns right here. Do that, and then begin the cutting process. There you go, as you see. That's how we did it. Again, we'll shave this and clean this off. There we go. You can use your box cutter, shave it off. There you go. And that's pretty much it for this portion. Okay, that's done for the UMD. And the next step is going to be the battery that we had, the Chinese knockoff battery. So what we're going to do is cut this out. And use our box cutter. So we're going to take our time and pace ourselves for cutting the battery. So take gradual steps in doing this, because what we're trying to do, we're going to try to pry open the battery so we can get the circuit board that charges and calculates the percentage of the PSP battery. So that's going to be important for the Lipo battery. So our Sony PSP could evaluate the percentage and timing of the battery charge and usage. So gradually with the box cutter, we're going to slide towards the openings right here. We're going to glide and slide through gently all around. Do this gradually, don't rush. And again, if you can't do this, don't do it whatsoever. Okay. Just do it gradually until the box cutter comes to the edge where you could open it gently. Yep, just like that. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. Now, these are going to be needed right here. Be careful around this area. That's where the connector goes into the PSP. So we're going to go again, gentle pressure to open gradually. Okay. Got that area. And got that area. Let's see if we could open it gently. Okay. Let's put the box cutter down and open this gently, because we're going to need that connecting area. There we go. See the other end now. Okay, we're going to put some more pressure here with the box cutter. Okay. Okay, we're going to put some pressure here. There we go. Do we get it? Yep, we did. Okay. And that's how it looks like. Take that off. No need for that. Let's see underneath. We could open this. Over here, it's either taped or glued with some cardboard or sometimes this foam. So let's see here now. While we're doing this, be careful. We're going to need this area. So let's go like that. There we go. Okay, got it. Okay, there we go. That's the circuit board. So the next step now is we're going to cut these metal areas that is linked onto the lithium-ion battery. And let's see if we can see some things here. Okay, there's the positive, B positive, and there's the B minus. Alright, which later on we're going to solder towards our new Lipo battery. So let's begin cutting those areas. So again, we're cutting these metal areas right here. That's soldered onto the circuit board, so be careful and gently cut. There we go, we got it. Okay, now we're going to put the lithium-ion battery. Would you believe this? This says supposedly 1800, 2200. Look at this. Look at the small size. Looks like a 600 or 500 milliamp battery. There's no way that this thing would be 1200. That's what you get from knockoff brands. But we always have a solution. And our solution is making our PSP last longer using this technique. Okay, so the next step right now, let's see if we got these metal things out perfectly. Alright, that's done. Okay, now we're going to solder. So we're going to warm up our soldering iron. Alright, right here. So let's crank up the heat. Okay, while this warms up, let's go back and what you're going to need again. Box cutter, the angled shear, screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, some pliers, and your Lipo battery, and your so-called knockoff PSP battery or original Sony PSP battery if you have one, or if it died you could use that. And once we applied through the Sony battery or the knockoff battery, we retrieve the circuit board, which we're gonna solder in and check out. Alright, while we're waiting for solder iron to warm up, so we're going to look at intensively with the Lipo battery now. So, just to keep in mind the positives and negatives of the contacts for the Lipo battery on the PCM control board on the Lipo battery. As you can see, that's the B-, so we're going to connect it to the B- on the PSP circuit board. So B-, as you can see here. So the B- right here is the black wire, and B+, yeah, it's indicated right there, which is specifically for the red wire. So very simple. We're going to solder the red wire to B+ from the PCM board to the PSP board right there. There it is, B+, and that's B- for the black wire. So what we're going to do is, let's move the PSP for a second here. So the first step is to zoom in here while we do it. Okay, so we're gonna solder see if it fits accurately. Like that. And the connectors for the PSP. Alright, so now as we soldered the Lipo battery with the PSP circuit board, I'm going to check for charging before we glue or use any tape. And as you can see, there it is. There's the red light. Okay, so it's working. Alright. Now that we know that the PSP is charging with the Lipo battery, we're going to position it by using tape or glue. Choice is up to you. And do the process. Okay. Let's take out the Lipo battery and understand where we position the circuit board with the Lipo battery. Alright, so I'm going to put a slight pressure here to evaluate where I charge the battery into the connectors. So I'm going to put a slight indentation, or you could use a pencil or ink pen. I'm just using the screwdriver very quickly, just putting slight pressure to understand the area that I'm going to position that circuit board on top of the Lipo battery. I'm going to use Scotch tape. You can use electrical tape, but I think it's too thick, so you might have trouble putting back the PSP battery cover. So I'm going to use this. The reason why I'm not gluing it yet is so I could understand where I position this accurately so I don't mess up. That's the reason why. So with Scotch tape I could easily pull it and not have any problems whatsoever. Okay, let's see how that works. Okay. Alright, that's good. The next step is for positioning the battery. So the areas that we're going to tape are around here and here. So let's focus on that. Close the UMD door. Battery cover. And voila. Now it's charging. See how it goes. Okay. Right now it's at 87%, I should say. External charging. Let me see something here. If I unplug it. Wow, look at that. 5 hours and 54 minutes of battery use. Alright. Pretty good. And that's an 87%. Think about what would happen when it's at 100%. How long the battery life would be compared to those knockoff batteries or compared to Sony's official batteries. So put it into a charging status and charge the Lipo battery that we just installed. Again, with the 3000 milliamp Lipo battery, keep in mind charging time will be a lot longer compared to Sony's PSP original battery or the Chinese knockoff brand battery. That when you charge, it takes probably an hour and a half. But with this battery installed, it could take about 2 hours to fully charge the 3000 milliamp battery. Probably slightly longer, but I'll tell you one thing. There was a time that I haven't charged the battery for over a week, and it lasted me for some time of going through a lot of games. And right now right now I do have 6.60 Pro C2 custom firmware onto the PSP 2000. On the PSP 3000s, I've used the Infinity custom firmware. And let me see. I've got a couple of the PSP, PlayStation 1 games as well. Let's load one of the PSP games, PS1 games I should say, PS1 classics. See how smoothly it's running so far. No hiccups, hopefully. I mean, considering that I had the battery on, PSP battery on this before, I had no hiccups whatsoever. But again, you'll get longer fun factor by using this battery, so you could enjoy your games without it, you know, running out of battery and being disappointed of how fast the battery died.
monster. You don't belong in this world.
So as you can see, the game's working perfectly fine. No hiccups. See, the great thing about PSP is that you can enjoy all your retro games, everything that you enjoyed in the past. Have fun with it, with a longer battery life now. Nothing to worry about. But otherwise, yeah, if you guys have any other further questions, subscribe to my page and let me know if you have any comments or anything that you want to share, and any issues. I'm more than happy to help you guys out. If you have any other further questions relating to PSP or anything else regarding with game components or hardware, give me a heads up. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video, this segment about the PSP mod, set up for a longer battery life with the Lipo battery. And hope you guys enjoy this mod. If it works out for you, enjoy it. And if you guys have still questions and having difficulty of setting it up, again, post any comments that is needed. Have a nice day guys, have fun.